to the Selfmade book channel. I'm Bianca.
And I'm Byron.
And today we are speaking to the very lovely Remel London, who is a presenter, voiceover artist, TV, host. She's just, she's
extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire. Is that the right? Okay, fine. She's doing a lot. And we want to find out what she's doing, why she's doing it, and how all of this amazing stuff came to pass. So Remel, welcome.
Hello, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sparing us some of your time. So, as we ask all of our guests, who is Remel London? And also, is the London really your name?
Okay, well, it's all part of the journey, actually. So I am a radio presenter, TV presenter, live events host, and I knew I wanted to do that from like the age of about 15. So I studied broadcast journalism, and I tried to do it like the professional way of being a presenter, because now you kind of see presenters pop up in all different styles and ways of becoming a presenter. But I really wanted to go down the academic route. And while I was at uni, that's where Remel London was born. So London isn't actually my surname. It was just something that it just became a part of me. I'm originally from London. Well, my background is Nigerian and Guyanese. So my full name, it's not an exclusive, but I'll give it to you. Ugo Remel, KK Wickham. And it's really long. So on Facebook, I was at uni in Leeds when Facebook popped up. And, I was just like, no disrespect to my family, but my name's too long. So at the time, I was like, look, I'm at uni. Let's be cool. I was a bit homesick. So I said, cool, Remel London. And I was really active at uni. And so it was kind of the norm to be like, add me on Facebook, Remel London. So my name just stuck with a lot of people. Like a lot of people didn't end up even know my real government name. So I ended up becoming Remel London. And I was just like, you know what? I love London. I love the culture. I love what I'm a part of. And as soon as I got back to London, again, I was like, you know what? I am the London girl. I love reporting on everything London, music, culture, events. So let's run with it. And I'm kind of grateful because it gave me my own thing. It gave me my niche. And like, I became Remel London, known for hosting events. Remel London, who talks about things that's happening in the city on radio, on TV, interviewing other Londoners, but also internationally. So I haven't allowed it to limit me, but at the same time, I'm a proud Londoner. I love exploring what London's about, and it literally stuck. So it definitely helps carry me on my journey, which I appreciate. So yeah, good question. Good first question.
So I know you from being on a circuit. Like we've been on a few panels together and events and so on. And you always had like great aspirations to do big things. That was very clear and evident from meeting you. But how did you get your first big break? What would you call it? Is CapitalXTRA your massive break, or is the Sky TV? What was the first big break, and how did you get there?
It's a tough one because I have to be honest with myself. I'm still not there, in my opinion, but for my 15-year-old self, oh my gosh, I made it. Like I'm on TV, I'm on the radio, and I think that's like, I'm very, very proud of what I've achieved. And I do think CapitalXTRA was the big kind of announcement one, because I'm on a show called WhatsuptvUK on Sky One, and I've been a part of the WhatsuptV family for about 6 or 7 years, but I became the lead host 2 to 3 years ago, I think. So I already felt like I was on TV, and I'd already felt like I was a regular, but it was kind of like a soft kind of, movement into the industry, and it wasn't as full throttle as CapitalXTRA, especially as CapitalXTRA is still, for those who may remember Choice FM, that was a community station, Black owned, and it was very like a big part of being a Londoner and a Black person in London. But although it was a real shock to everyone's system when they rebranded as CapitalXTRA, it did take it to a whole new level, and it became a national platform. And then, especially my friends in Leeds could listen in now. And like, people can hear me and associate me with a platform that has a national feel to it. So even though saying that Sky One is national and it can be picked up across the UK, but I just feel like that little bit of radio has a little bit more intimacy, like it can be available in everyone's house. You don't have to have a Sky subscription. So it did make me feel like, okay, now I'm regularly available, especially because I'm on every Saturday, and you know, people might come across me by chance just by listening to the radio. So I do feel like Capital Extra was the thing that felt a bit more boom, you're here. And I don't know what it is about radio, although, like, you know, it is kind of, it's really old school still. It still has a real big part of everyone's life. Like, you know, whether you're in your car, whether you're, you know, you can listen online, you can listen in an app. Like, it's so accessible. It did really make me feel like, okay, this is a good place to be. So as much as I love being on TV, radio does feel like it's so much more connected to people, and it can feel a lot more open and welcoming to the mainstream. So yeah.
So are you a radio DJ or a radio host, or is there a difference?
There is a difference. For example, Tim Westwood is a DJ, but he also hosts his own radio show. So he is a radio presenter as well. I am just a radio presenter, as I already have a playlist of selected music, and I just speak in between. Although I have learned to DJ, I don't put myself forward as being a DJ because I have so much respect. I grew up with, especially at uni, I was around loads of DJs. I know so many now because of the jobs that I do hosting. I have such a high respect for DJs. I'm like, okay, I'm a baby. Like, I didn't learn vinyl. I didn't do that. So, you know, I believe I can mix and I can, you know, play 1-2 good tunes. But at the same time, I have so much respect for DJs that I wouldn't call myself a DJ. So I'm very proud to be just a radio presenter and just keep it simple like that. But yeah, I feel like that's a completely different skill that I'd love to master. But right now, I'm a presenter.
Who chooses the playlist? Do you get to choose the playlist?
Ooh, so Capital Extra is a commercial station. Yeah. So it's pumped by advertising. So one of their priorities, other than like entertaining people, is also to provide a service. So it's very regulated. It's very specific in how they put out music. So it's all hand-picked by the management. And we get our input, and like, you know, they do often ask us, do you agree with this? And I know a lot of the a lot more regular DJs who are, you know, more tapped in with getting regular music sent to them, they do have a say and they do get to have an input. But my show in particular, especially because it's in the daytime, it's playlisted because they have an idea of what they expect people to like, which I totally get. So although I would love to play whatever, like, you know, I'm a big fan of house music, I'm a big fan of neo soul, I'd love to fling on a little bit of Erykah Badu in the afternoon, but you know,
you'll be playing for you. That's what sometimes I love. That's what DJs do.
Yeah, but no, but they're not good DJs don't play for themselves.
I'll be the worst DJ. I'll be having the best time of my life. I honestly.
And that's the thing. You have to think about the people. Like, it is, and that is a selfless thing that DJs do. However, like, again, going back to like Manny Norte and like, again, like, we've got loads of like young DJs on the station at the minute, like Afro B, Tiny, Robert Bruce is the DJ / presenter. They are the specialists. So they are the tastemakers. So they have the opportunity to introduce you to new music. Whereas I'm the, you know, the comfortable auntie that's like, okay, I know you like this one, here you go. Whereas they can be a bit more tastemakerish and like let you know.
Feeding the good music and you're
Do you get to choose the order?
Not at all. Not at all. But again, it's very I don't know how they do it, and I'd love to know what makes a song a hit, but they have categories. So they have an A-list, B-list, C-list, and most stations will have this as well. So you might see an artist promoting, oh, I've made it on the A-list, I made it on the B-list. So A-list get top rotation. They might be on the station maybe every 2 hours, or at least one of their songs will be on every 2 hours, every 3 hours or something. B-list, a little less, C-list, a little less as well. So they've already organized like a combination of A to C list. So again, it's very, I don't know, algorithms. That's what they like to make sense of it. It's algorithms, and it's what they think the listener likes. And based on our views and ratings, they're doing all right. So I can't really fault them for the algorithm that they've created. So yeah.
So how did it come about? Tell us the story. How did you end up in CapitalXTRA?
So I actually started off as a assistant, a runner, work experience in the building that is Global. So Global is the home of Capital FM, CapitalXTRA, Classic, LBC, Heart, Radio X. I'm sure I'm missing some. Gold, Smooth, they own it all. So I was doing work experience back in 2011 at Choice. So I actually was in the building when it was Choice, which I absolutely loved. It was a dream of mine. And I had the opportunity to assist on the breakfast show when it was Choice FM. So that's back when, I don't even remember when Kojo and Max used to do the breakfast show for Choice. Then they had a little bit of movement around with Choice, still Choice. And for some reason, they didn't need an assistant anymore. So I was like, oh, bummer, like I've lost a job. Again, I don't know what it was, but just timing, I believe it was God. I was just there at the right opportunity. Someone had just left as an assistant at Capital FM. And because Choice and Capital FM was on the same building, word was whispering around that this girl, she's doing all right. She's actually a pretty good assistant. So the manager said, hey, you, come, let's have a chat. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And he was like, look, we've got an opportunity. You should come work over at Capital FM. I literally thought it was going to be like a one-day thing. Oh, Capital, woo. It ended up being 2 years. So yeah, it was amazing. I worked on the Capital breakfast show with Dave Berry and Lisa Snowden. Very big household national UK names. So they had all of the big guests. Like, you know, I got to meet Will Smith. I got to meet The Rock. I got to meet the Kardashians. Like, they literally had every guest in there. But at the same time, as much as it's great to be in and see everything behind the scenes, I was very like itchy to just be a presenter and you know, I want to get the knowledge, but it wasn't enough. So I, at the same time, was doing a lot of like community radio and a lot of just taking lots of different opportunities. And it just so happened that BBC Radio 1 Extra had an opportunity where they used to have a show, a 1 hour segment where they'd get new talent. It was called Extra Talent. They get new talent to fill a slot. And it was amazing, but naively, I didn't really think of the repercussions of working with a competitor. So Capital got wind of it and like, you know, no hard feelings. They were like, look, you know, you're kind of, because at the time I was, you know, on social media, and this is when Instagram kind of was just starting and everyone was just gassed. You post everything. And there were a few times they were like, look, you've kind of made it quite clear that you work at Capital and BBC, and I don't really think that's a good idea. So you kind of have to choose. And I was like, okay. And bear in mind, I was getting paid to be an assistant at Capital, but I wasn't being paid to do the Extra Talent slot at the BBC. And I'll be honest, they forced my hand. They were like, we think you should go and do your thing. And I was like, oh, but can't I do both? They basically just said, you can't do it. Like, just stop. Stop being cheeky. You can't work everywhere. So I ended up leaving, going to 1 Extra. And I ended up building up a really good relationship with 1 Extra to the point where I ended up being a cover DJ or cover presenter. So whenever someone was sick, I'd cover in, or if anyone was like their DJ, like especially on BBC 1 Extra, their DJs are booked and busy all the time. So there was always an opportunity for me to fill in for someone, which was amazing. I'd done that for about 3 years. And it got to the point where it was getting a bit confusing because I didn't have my own role. I didn't have my own show, but I felt like a regular. But it was great. It was great to have that visibility because CapitalXTRA got in touch with me. And they noticed that I didn't have a permanent slot at 1 Extra. And they basically said, look, you're doing your thing. We like it. We think you should come over to CapitalXTRA. And I, mind blown, it was a big decision. Because again, it was that whole, should I stay with BBC 1 Extra? Should I go back to somewhere where they told me? It was, you know, it was a bit confusing situation. But, you know, I literally prayed on it. I asked loads of like peers and mentors and just like kind of really thought about what it would mean going back to CapitalXTRA. And I'm really glad I did, because as much as I still love and respect everyone at BBC One Extra, but Capital Extra has actually opened a lot more doors for me. And it's a very subtle difference in being DAB and then being on FM. So a lot of people don't realize that BBC Radio 1 Extra isn't on FM. So you can't just tune it in on your radio unless you have a DAB radio, whereas Capital Extra is very accessible. So it kind of goes back to our first part of the chat. Being on a national, very accessible platform like Capital Extra makes a huge difference. So as much as I missed having I was on, to be fair, at one point on BBC One Extra, I was on every weekend, twice a week sometimes, because a lot of DJs were off, especially in the summer. A lot of DJs were off, and I got to cover a lot.
Off and do a festival, because that helped promote the BBC Extra.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So they were really. So I almost felt like I'm leaving something where I'm quite regular anyway, and now I'm going to one slot. But the real difference was Capital Extra was my show.
Yeah, love that.
BBC One Extra, I was a cover DJ. So you'd always have to say, hi, I'm Remel London in 4. So now I can just say, this is my show. Welcome. It's me, Remel London. This is me. You and me only. So, so that's kind of how I weighed it up. And it was a big part of just understanding like my brand and how I want to present myself and my style for my show and stuff like that. So it was a hard decision, but I'm really glad I made it. And so far, so good.
So let me ask a question. How does one become a radio presenter?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Quarantine has given us lots of opportunities to do new things. So shoot your shot, go for it. I think.
And what do I need? Give me some top tips. What I need to be able to do? What skills do I need, and how do I do it?
Okay, I think first of all, you are already doing it. You can already say that you are a presenter because you host this show right here. So I think most importantly, it's being able to show that you have the skill to be able to hold a conversation, prep an interview, even just producing, because that's the thing, being a presenter isn't just talking to a camera or talking into a mic. You actually have to have the creative like idea and forward thinking to be able to put it all together and produce kind of your own show. And that's what kind of makes a lot of people stand out the test of time, like having their own ideas, being innovative, working in a situation like this where, you know, okay, cool, I can't go out and have a film crew. Cool, let's get Zoom, let's get all these different accessible things that I can do at home, you know, and make your own show. And I've done that a lot. I had to just create. So I always say my first tip is just do it. You always have to just have the idea and go for it. And it's a process you develop over time. But another tip I'd say is be you. Like you have to find your thing, find your niche, and just be able to confidently deliver it and enjoy it. I always say you got to enjoy it. There's no point being a presenter and hating your job. Like you have to want to or you have to at least enjoy talking to people, because that's your job. And if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to last very long. So yeah, that's most important. Just, you know, do it and have fun with it. Be creative, be yourself. And usually opportunities will come to you, or it'll be a great opportunity for you to create as well. So yeah.
Is it always though an expectation that you go in as a runner or as an assistant to get into that world? Or have you heard of people that have just been, I don't know, found, like they've looked for talent and brought them in?
Oh my gosh, yeah. People get picked up like that. And it is, for example, the situation of me being in the building at that time, and they didn't know me from Adam. I didn't need to have a CV or a show reel to be an assistant. It was literally, they were like, look, we like your vibe. Like they seem to like you over there at Choice. Why not bring that over here? And there was no interview process. They liked me. They said, come and work with us. I got on with the team. 2 years later, I was there. So sometimes if a person in an organization or power, I guess you can say, takes a liking to you, obviously in a professional way, but so much can come of it. And you have to be quite open and honest about what you want from the opportunities as well. Like, you know, I always said, look, I want to be a presenter. So I do want to see, like, you know, national treasures or like, you know, I do want to see how you conduct a commercial interview with like huge Hollywood stars. So this is great for me to be able to see that, and I can apply that to who I'm going to be. So it is sometimes timing, just taking opportunities while you can, learning everything and soaking up as much as you can when the opportunity arises. But it's changed a lot. Like back in the day, they'd always say, work your way up the ladder. Now you can just pop up on Instagram. You can just pop up on YouTube. You could have literally, you know, same way how like models get scouted on the street. They could be like, you've got a great look. I think you'd be great on TV. It can happen. So I try not to, like, it took a long time for me to kind of get to, what's the word? Be content that my journey is mine and someone else's is someone else's. If they end up being a pop-up presenter and they get a big opportunity, good for you. My journey is going to be completely different, and it's going to mean something else to me because I appreciate my journey. So it took a while to kind of be like, how come she got that? How come he got that? But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. What has been the most awkward moment whilst either filming or being on radio or interviewing anybody? What has been, maybe give us some more than one. Maybe there's more than one.
There's loads. There's always awkward moments. Always.
What awkward moments when you're like, oh, you know, when you get that
Cringe.
Yeah. Well, I've got one that never went to air because it was just so awkward. It was a absolute throwback. So if anyone remembers Bobby Valentino, the singer.
Oh, yeah.
So he came to London. This was years ago. He came to London to promote a new album.
Yeah.
Fine. That's great. So I was like, cool, I'm going to do all this research about his past, what he's been up to, all this kind of stuff. And like he, at the time, it wasn't fresh, but like he had kind of like a problem with the rapper Ludacris. Like I think they fell out or something like that. So, but he had a lot of success with Ludacris as well. So I was interviewing him, asking him, so how have you been? How's things? Tell me about, you know, your journey. Like I wanted to go deep, like what's happened here? And And then he got to the point where he was just like, I'm not here to talk. I'm not here to have a conversation. He literally was just like, anyway, he picked up the CD that he was promoting and he was just like, by the way, my album's out now. So every time I asked him a new question, he'll be like, yeah, that's cool. My album's out now. And I was like, okay. Like, I was like, yeah, but tell me about, you know, that time when I can't even remember what I was asking. Like I was panicking. Like, how do I make this be a normal conversation? And he was just like, album's out now. I've never in my life seen anyone go to such a like stubborn level of, I'm not gonna answer your questions. I'm just gonna plug my album. Like we were like,
did you say something to trigger him to be like that, or he was just that's just his behavior?
God knows. Like to the point where I was just like, why did this go left? Like I think it must have been something about Ludacris or something. I was like, yeah, you had loads of hits with Ludacris, and I think he went, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is this album. And I was like,
oh,
okay. I like, this is back when I used to film with Link Up TV, an online platform, and the guy that was filming, he's also the owner. He was just like, you know, we're not putting this out, right? I was like, but it's Bobby Valentino. He was like, no, that was terrible. And I was like, I tried.
Bad interview, or because the way he behaved?
It was his behavior. And again, it was a long time ago. So it could have maybe it could have been saved, but I was not skilled enough to save that. so you know, and it happens. Like I've heard of major celebs walk out interviews if you accidentally said something. Like I'll never forget, I can't remember where this happened, or who it happened to, but there was a famous story of someone calling Justin Bieber Justin Timberlake by accident, and he
that was it.
Yeah, he was like, you don't even know my name. And it was also honest mistake. Like, so Justin Justin Bieber, oh. Like, it was over. So it happens, and this is like, you know, a big, I remember hearing it. I don't think it happened at Capital, but I remember hearing it, like the rumors of this happened this week. So everyone be on guard, like if you interview Justin Bieber.
Get his name.
Get his name.
Yeah.
Trigger though, to be fair, that's a big like.
Yeah.
It's happened to the best of us. I've been called.
I mean, my mentees get my name wrong, so I'm spelling my name wrong, and I'm like, you know.
I've been on stage before. Someone said, rather than saying "Welcome Bianca Miller," they're like, "And welcome Belinda." And I'm like, "Who's Belinda?"
And you paid me to be here.
Yeah, they paid me to be
Wow. Yeah. What do you do? Just so smile.
Question.
Yeah.
Now you're in the mainstream media and press and so on. How have the press treated you? Overall, how have the press treated you? Because we know sometimes they can be. I'll leave that there.
Well, so far, I haven't made it to like tabloid media. So it's more like online bloggers and like the kind of, because there's a lot of online platforms now where they like to report on what people are doing, their relationships, all that kind of stuff. The attention that I usually get is when I'm quite outspoken. So it's been good and bad. People have seen me as like a social commentator or like a cultural kind of music expert and stuff. So when I've said things that are quite, you know, controversial about an artist, that's like a big, like I'll never forget when a few years ago when Kanye West performed at the Brit Awards and he got Skepta and Stormzy and like loads of like rappers in the UK to be on stage with him, but they were all wearing, I don't know if you guys remember, they were all wearing black hoodies and like they didn't really sing, they were just there. And a lot of people, there was like mixed emotions, like people were like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing that Kanye brought out all these artists. And then other people, and my side was, well, yeah, it's cool that they're going to be on stage with him, but what, any collabs? Like, what's happening here? Like, are they just going to be on stage? So a few comments are floating around online. I made a video about it. Well, and this is back when I used to actually YouTube and like be kind of like controversial. And I was like, I think it's bang out of order that Kanye didn't invite them properly. He didn't like pass the mic, all this kind of stuff. I went to bed, woke up. The video went viral. The Guardian picked it up. The Voice picked it up. And it was just like, presenter Remel London speaks out about Kanye West and Skepta and da-da-da. And I think at the same time, Big Nasty, he also used to do a lot of social commentary as well. Big Nasty called like Skepta, Stormzy and all those guys, he said they were backup dancers. So somehow it got caught up that I was in that as well. And everyone was saying, oh, Remel saying that Stormzy and Skepta are backup dancers. And I was like, whoa, I never said that. So it became...
Song, is that for you then when he talks about backup dancers?
No, it's not about me. It's not about me. But it put a bad taste in a lot of like music artists' mouths about me. Because they thought this girl just likes to talk about stuff and she just likes to, you know, she's over opinionated. And this is before people were over opinionated. This is probably like 2015. So people weren't really used to just people saying whatever they think about things. And it kind of put a bad taste in people's mouth, in the scene, I'll say, especially in the UK, like rap and music scene, that people are like, oh, be careful about Remel. She might call you out or say that you're this and you're da-da-da-da. So it ended up... Oh my gosh, I was really, really upset for a while. And to the point where I was kind of... I went a bit quiet, if I'm honest. And to this day, I don't speak out publicly about a lot of things because I know how things can be misconstrued and stuff. And the joke is, like, my vlog that I did went out and like it was typed up verbatim, like on The Voice and in The Guardian. Like there was no bad mouth to any of the UK artists, but it's just how the other blogs circulated and
you made an assumption that people read.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the assumption you can't make because people don't. They read the headlines, they listen to hearsay, they don't actually read the article, they don't read
Yeah.
And a lot of artists just kind of were like, no, I don't want to have an interview with her. And I was like, oh gosh. So, but obviously everyone's forgotten about that now. And I feel like my brand has changed a lot more now. Like I'm not so much the go-to for like rappers anymore, like just that in particular. I'm a versatile presenter, and I kind of had to make a conscious decision. Like you can't just rely on music, because if an artist doesn't like you, that's the end. So I ended up, and and people were like, no, you should have carried on. You could have been the Wendy Williams of the UK. And I'm like, I don't want to, like, I actually don't want that. So, and it had to be a conscious decision. What kind of presenter, what kind of personality do you want to be? Do you want to be outspoken? Because I can be outspoken, but really and truly, there's repercussions to it. So I had to just figure out, okay, family friendly, inspirational, motivational, like attach myself to fun and like happy things, and not just critical or anything like that. And I have my moments occasionally on Twitter. You might see me say something, but but nothing as big as a vlog, a review, and all that kind of stuff.
Byron doesn't have a Twitter account. So it's just not a good idea.
And as well, I can be very sarcastic. So I know how to trigger people.
Yeah.
So I know it's not a space for me. And as well, what's acceptable now in 5 years? And I'll probably be on that edge anyway. So it's totally not acceptable to say that.
Yeah. And it's changed. It's changed so much. Like we've seen so many people get cancelled and all this kind of stuff. Like the last few years, we've all had to clean up our Twitter accounts and those childish things we used to say, or just the lingo, a lot of things. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to talk like that. And again, it was just nothing offensive, we were just silly kids like cussing each other on Twitter, but the same way how you'd like at school, playground, oh you ugly, oh you this, you're that. Now if it's in writing online, find it, delete it. Like people are gonna see your joke and possibly confuse the whole situation. So you have to be just aware of how you speak and how you want to present yourself. So
absolutely, personal branding, rebranding exercise. I like
definitely.
So who is the most, I don't know, famous or celebrated person that you've met, or someone that you're have you met any idols or anyone that you thought, oh my gosh, I'm meeting so and so?
Like there's meeting, and then there's having like an actual moment with someone. So like I'll never forget meeting Will Smith, but it wasn't the way I wanted to meet him. So it will happen in Jesus' name the way I want. But but when I met him when I worked at Capital, it was really upsetting. That day I knew he was coming. He was coming in with Jaden as well. So I was super gassed. I've been a big fan of Will Smith since God knows when. And they said, Remel, you need to stand by the lift throughout the interview because we need to make sure that no one comes on this floor while he's here. And I was like, what? I can't even be in the room when the interview's happening. And they were like, no. He's already brought his entourage. The room's going to be full. So what we need you to do is stand by the lift, guard the lift, so that when he's ready to go, the lift is there, it's open, he goes in, he goes out the building. It's like, this is the most ridiculous moment ever. So anyway, I was gutted, like near tears. Didn't even see him come in, but I didn't realize that actually this is a great moment. So in the end, they came out. Jaden came out first. So Jaden came in the lift, and I had to wait with Jaden for his dad to come. So there was like probably about 30 seconds. And again, I was like the only black person in the building. So when Jaden saw me, he was like, oh, hey, who are you? And I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Remel, I work at Capital, holding the lift for you guys. And he was like, oh, that's weird. Anyway, and I was like, yeah, I know, it's weird. He was like, oh, thanks for holding the lift. And I was like, no problem, man. And then like 5 seconds later, Will walks in and he kind of saw me and Jaden chatting. He was like, hey, what's up? who are you? And I was like, hey, I'm Remel. He went, Remel. Oh, you Remel? Okay, Remel. Nice to meet you, Remel. He said my name like 5 times. I was gassed. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a lift with Will Smith. So I'm holding, and then he's done the kind of same like exchange of like, was you holding the lift for us? I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, thanks, Remel. Welcome. And I slyly, I tried to go in the lift with them. I was like, oh, do you want me to come down with you? And then his team were like, no, we've got it. And I was like, oh, damn. So that was my one moment with Will Smith in a work environment. But my dream would be to interview Will. Like, I know it's going to happen one day. So in terms of people that I really look up to, he's someone that I just love his career journey. From Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to like, you know, being a Hollywood superstar and like now having YouTube, he's just proven that, you know, you can do whatever you want, any time span as well. Like he's in his 50s and he's still one of the biggest artists in the world, from being like a 20-year-old rapper to now. Like his whole journey is amazing. So I'd love to like sit down and go deep with him one day. And just on a presenter interview, like kind of front, some of the biggest people, Common, I love Common the rapper. I interviewed him a few years ago, which was an amazing interview, and he was just so cool and so just free speaking. My family loved that I interviewed Tito Jackson. So we spoke about, you know, being in the Jacksons, growing up and all that kind of stuff. That was all of these interviews were from working on WhatsUp TV and Sky One. So WhatsUp has given me some great interviews. Who else? Yeah, I mean, all the UK artists, like, I've had so many great exchanges with them as well. So I really my main thing is that I love speaking to people about their journey and like how they got here and what their kind of their aspirations are. So I've had some really nice conversations with some great artists, but more to come. I can't wait for more to come.
Okay, so another question. I've noticed obviously the coronavirus is an unfortunate pandemic that's happening recently, but I also noticed you suddenly started becoming a voiceover artist.
Yeah.
Under your quilt because you can't go to the studio. So tell us a little bit about your voiceover artist journey and the quilt situation.
So, I realize it's getting the shadows in my room are just getting out of hand right now. But yeah, a little bit of sun here. Here we go. So I stumbled into. Did it get worse?
Yeah. Stop.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good. So I stumbled into voiceovers, and this actually started back in 2010. So I used to work at a lot of different community radio stations, either on air or just helping out. And for some reason, people always used to ask me, can you do voiceovers? And I was like, I don't even know what that is, but sure. Like, I was just excited to be in a studio. And then from there, it's kind of rollerboard. And I realized I had enough content to make a voiceover reel. I ended up getting picked or poached by Choice FM while I was there as well. Then when I was at One Extra, same thing happened again. They were like, oh, can we get your voiceovers? Blah, blah, blah. And again, I was like, okay, now I've got brands. Like, I can actually say I'm a professional voiceover agent. So at that point, I sent my reel off to an agency. And 2 years ago, so it takes a long time. 2 years ago, I finally got an agent, and now I regularly do voiceovers for BBC iPlayer, BET. I did a long stint with BT Sport during the UEFA Cup. Who else I work with? Oh, I'm on a show on CBBC at the minute. And yeah, it's weird. Like, I literally done a record earlier for the CBBC show because it has to go on, but I can't get to the studio. So what they've requested is that I just record at home under the duvet. So fortunately, I actually invested in equipment a few years ago, because when I used to just kind of do it here and there as favors for people, I thought it kind of makes sense that I have equipment so that I don't have to pay for studio time. And it's become a real investment now, because I have no other choice but to do it at home. So I'm really, really glad I had that kind of foresight to buy it, because now apparently equipment is sold out everywhere now. So
imagine.
it's crazy. A lot of voiceover artists are struggling, unless you have a home studio, which one day I really hope to have, because this has proven how important it is, because being under the duvet gets very hot. so it's a great way to record, because they always say, you know, you have to be in a booth or you have to be somewhere that's contained, but it's just it's inconvenient, but I'm grateful that I can still do it, so I'm making it work.
Okay, so final few questions. Well, first, do you have any questions for us?
Good question. Because I do feel like as a self-made couple, because I'm in a relationship at the minute as well. Well, I've been in a relationship for 6-7 years now, and we're both freelance, we're both self-made. He's a music producer and engineer, so he does everything himself. How is it stepping into marriage as freelancers and, you know, having your own business and having time to kind of navigate? Because we're still trying to figure out, how do you take your journey and make our journey? So yeah,
that's a good question. Deep one.
Okay. I love it. Look at that. She goes, she gave me the nod.
Over to you.
Over to you. That's tough. So you got that covered.
How you make it work.
All right. Really, really good question. So let's break that down a little bit. So I don't want to be like cliche and just be like, we make it work. But you know, like when you're faced with a situation, whether it be difficult or you make it work for you.
Yeah.
So I guess if I'm trying to strip away that question and really get to what you're asking is, how do we make time for each other given our busy lifestyles and so on? And I guess, first of all, we're very fortunate that we have, first of all, businesses that connect us.
Okay.
And then we have our own separate businesses, which allow us to go on our separate way and have our separate time apart. But I think our passion for business and entrepreneurship and life and having fun is what really is the glue. We love the same things. We love to eat nice food. So in order to, you know, go and dine at the finest restaurants, we need to make a little bit of money and work hard. We love holidays, so we love traveling. We love traveling around the world. We want to travel first class in business. So in order for us to do that, you got to be out at 7 a.m. sometimes. I got to be up at 3 a.m. So we're happy to manage that. And then all these, you know, various different things allows us to spend time together. Yes, we don't have that official textbook where we say, okay, from when the dinner arrives, we're not going to talk about work anymore, because that's part of our life and it's part of who, and we accept that. Where I think would be more challenging is if one of us was not in business and one of us had a 9-to-5. That's where the challenges may be very different.
Yeah.
Then the other one doesn't really want to hear all day and night about what you've been doing in business and so on, because the other person stopped work. So I think that there are different challenges there, but for where we are in our lives, you know, we just make it work. We understand, we have very similar goals. We know what we have to do to get those goals, and we just make it work.
I would add though, when I was working full time in a job and you were being an entrepreneur, I think it was a different type of balance, but we still had a balance, because I was always ambitious. I always was interested in business. So I think my interest in business, I then just kind of, I don't know, directed at you to try and help advance you and your business. So then when the time came for me to decide to leave my job and start a business, the same happened, but in reverse, you now supported what I wanted to do, my aspirations. And I think that's what relationships are about, that balance, you know, that, well, sometimes that imbalance, that kind of that ability to pivot. So when someone needs to do something, you support them. When the things changes, you support the other person. And just that ability to grow together, but not necessarily doing everything together. And I think if you want the best for each other and you're both ambitious, you'll make it work.
You make it work.
Facts. I love that. Thank you, guys. There's hope. There's hope for me and my mister.
So you're not married yet?
No, we're not married, no.
Are you engaged?
We're not engaged either.
Let me give you a little secret, right? Like, I'm really good at converting guys to like make that big leap of.
Okay. I'm going to leave him your details.
I I got a process as well, and I make it look like, guys, we need a lot of logic. We need systematic, like we're quite, yes. And I've got
the funny thing is, we are very forward thinking. We know what we want. We like, to the point where he actually recorded me telling him what kind of ring I want. It was hilarious. Like he recorded me in secret, and then I ended up seeing the video, and it was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. Like, I literally became like unengaged bridezilla. Like it was crazy. But we are very open about what we want, the future and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's just timing, and that's kind of where we're at, where, okay, let's get ourselves together. Even though everyone always, like, people always tell me there's no perfect time to do anything and all that kind of stuff. But we are still kind of in that figuring out place. So yeah, but it's coming.
There's no perfect time, but there is timing is everything.
Yeah.
Perfect time, of course, but as someone you're both driven, you're entrepreneurial, you're freelancers, you still have, there is a time for everything.
Definitely.
And you find the time, but at your right time.
Well, you had that moment as well, actually.
Yeah, I did.
And I wish I was able to record that, because that.
Really?
Ooh.
No, you didn't ask me what ring I wanted. The moment was, I don't know, were we 8 years? It was like 8 years in, and I was like, listen, we lived together, we bought something together, blah, blah, blah. What's happening here? Where's the ring? But it was the first time I asked in like 8 years.
Yeah, it was the first time.
Wow.
But the funny thing was, and I say this all the time, I had already bought the ring, and we were laying on the floor near where
in our
bedroom near the safe where the actual ring was.
Oh my gosh.
I started laughing, and obviously it wasn't a funny moment.
Yeah.
So mad. She's thinking, this guy is really not taking me serious. So if I was able to record that, I would have been priceless.
Gold.
8 years of not saying anything, and you say something, and the guy starts laughing at you. That's not funny.
I don't know what I do. Because even in the video, I was so serious, and I've never seen myself like that. So that's what it was like. When he played back the video, I was like, is that how I was talking? He was like, yes. He was like, you're crazy, just to let you know. I was like, oh, I really am. Okay.
A woman who knows what she wants.
Oh, yeah, I know.
On that note, we thank you for your time today.
Thank you, guys.
And that's it from us. So, guys, if you enjoyed today's content, if you enjoyed today's interview, please make sure you subscribe. Where can they find you? Where can they get your details? Where can they connect with you?
I am on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, if you like, Remel_London. And please follow my new platform, The Mainstream UK, which is all about I've got a podcast called The Mainstream as well, where I'm interviewing loads of people about their journey into the mainstream. So I've got lots of content coming out in quarantine, making good use of this time. So, guys, come on the journey. And it's been great speaking to you guys.
Thank you. And CapitalXTRA on a Saturday, what time?
Thank you, girl. Every Saturday, 1 till 4 p.m.
Love that. Thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed this interview, as Byron said. So if you liked it, make sure you give us a little like, a little share, comment, subscribe. It doesn't cost, any of that stuff doesn't cost anything. So make sure you are sharing good content. We love to see people winning. This is what this channel is all about, motivating you to understand how to win in your various industries. So thank you very much, Remel. I've been Bianca.
And I'm Byron.
And Selfmade.
It's success.
Bye.